Next thing we're going to do is go through and just keep building out this page. So let's sneak, I'm on my page, and I just wanted to remind everybody if you haven't done this page, if you didn't do the previous exercise, then you'll need to go back and do it. So you should have your lacerte underscore your last name, double click and open that up, and we're going to continue to build this out. So let's go over to our lacerte homepage and take a look at that. And so I'm looking at this structure here. We've got a container, an inner space component, a grid responsive, another inner space, and another grid responsive. And there's quite a bit of things in there as well. So we just want to build out that much of it. But as I go through, I can notice that this one is indented. This container here is indented just a little bit from the default secondary container size. So the way that is transacted is that if you go into the container edit mode under attributes, this is an include box 960. So that's been set up to anything inside that container is going to be within 960 pixels, and that's how they have that set up. So that's how we're going to do it too. So let's go over back to our page. I'm going to add in a container, right click new, container under the Harmony core. Click Edit. From the Edit Component dialog, Attributes tab, Include Box 960. And we'll see that's just going to indent into about 960. There we go. Now we're going to start building it out from there. So we'll click New. We're going to go ahead and put an inner space in there. We will end up deleting this. Again, just to reiterate, inner spaces should not be used when container padding can do the same thing. This adds load time to the page, so you should avoid adding inner space components just for your basic spacing needs. If there's a situation where you've got to use it because the padding won't create the same effect, then that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and add in this grid. So we click OK, add in a grid. It's again asking me to set this up. We're going to come back and do that in just a second. Go down here, add in another inner space from the core. And down here, yet another grid. So all I'm doing is just kind of filling out the basic structure of the page at this point. And we'll go back and add these things in. And grid. Okay, so let's go back up and clean this up a little bit. So we've got our top portion, and then we're going to come back down here. We've got our inner space and the grid. Let's flip over to the lacerte and take a look at that a little bit here and see what's going on. So, so here's the grid responsive. But here I can tell we've got some factor of 12 going on. This could be 282, because again, that would add up to 12. Let's go ahead and take a look at that and see what this looks like. So it's asking for 3 unique containers, and that's kind of what we have. And then for the desktop, it's got 282. For tablet, it's asking for 110.1 and mobile 110.1 as well. So let's go ahead and configure our grid responsive in the same manner. Okay, so I come down to my grid. We're going to click Edit. And let's go through here and do 282. Enable the tablet view and enable the mobile view. And I remember those were the same. I did copy those, so we can just paste those in right here. Also on the lacerte homepage, you have a grid type. So you can also designate the size here and how that's going to perform. 960, 680, 100% of the container or default width, which is used with nested grids. So that was selected on the other one over there. I'm going to select that as well and click OK. Nested grids are something to be avoided at all cost. That adds significant load time, but sometimes you get into a situation where the design warrants that. So it's really just understanding that interplay between load time and design, the need to execute a particular design. So in here, so PTG has used some nested grids, and we'll see that even later down here that they're used quite a bit as well. So we just ask that you use those strategically and also monitor your page load time. So we've got this set up similar to what we have here, container. So I can tell that that is a text component. So I've got into that express mode of editing where I can just make edits there. Come back over, we're going to drop in a text component from core and click OK. The exercise is really designed to get you familiar with some of these components and working with different container functions and features. So we're going to want to come back and make some edits to that, and we'll do that in just a little bit. Okay, so we've got our first grid set up. We have our inner space set up. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the second grid, because there's quite a bit of content in here. So I can see this is a grid. It looks like this might be half right here. So this could be 6, 1, 5. That might be my guess. But I'm also noticing this has got a number of containers down here. So this is a nested grid right here. And I can tell that also by the fact that in one of these containers, another grid is placed inside of it. So let's go ahead and set up the first grid. We'll click Edit and see how this is configured. Yeah, it is. It's 615, 12012, 12012. So let's go ahead and make those same edits on our page. So what that's going to tell you is 615 in the desktop view. When we're in desktop, it's going to these columns, this row is going to present itself out just like that. 12012 tells me when this gets into an iPad or a phone view, mobile view, this is going to be its own column. There'll be a space underneath, and then this will continue underneath. So these will be stacked, and that makes a lot of sense. So let's go back over here, take a look. We've already got this in here. Let's go down to this grid responsive and configure it. We'll click Edit. We're going to go ahead and enable these viewports for tablet, and I've already copied these over, so it'll be 12012 and 615. Everything else looks to be the same, and we'll just click OK. And from this view, it looks like that's exactly what we have. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drop in a text component and a grid component on our page. First, we're going to copy this text. It'll be a lot faster just for the purpose of this exercise. And I could put this into Notepad and then put it back in. But again, for the purpose of our exercise, I think we'll just leave this as it is. Right-click New. We're going to add in a text component. And then drop in this text. Over here, we're going to right-click and put in a grid component. It's on the Responsive tab. And we're going to need to configure that. So let's go take a look at the lacerte homepage, see the way that is configured. So again, the grid responsive here, 1212012. And this is also, so the grid type is for nested grids. We have 3 unique containers, 1212012, 75363, and 5 containers. So let's go ahead and set our page up the same way. We'll add a tablet view, and the mobile view is the same as the desktop. This will need to configure to 5 unique containers. And if we didn't do that, AEM would alert us that we've done something wrong there, and then go ahead and click OK. Actually, we're going to need to make this default with nested grids. So there we go. We've got the next sections set up. So we'll go through and add in the particular components here and then start to do a little bit more work on this page.